Hey there friends, it's Haley, and today I wanted to do a quick November wrap-up of everything I read in the last month and talk a little bit about what I'm doing this month. So I finished 4 books in the month of November, 3 that I have physical copies of and 1 that I listened to on audiobook. The first book that I finished in the month of November is Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero. If you have not heard of this book, it is something really incredible. Cantero takes on the classic Scooby-Doo tropes and characters of the original series and puts his own spin on it, makes them his own characters and his own stories. And basically the premise of this book is that the kids who were solving mysteries together as children are now adults, and they come back together to try to figure out what happened with their last mystery, which has had a large effect on their lives as adults. It's a really, really interesting book. It did a lot of things I wasn't expecting it to. It is set in the 1990s, I think. I think it's set in the 1990s. And it made for a really interesting setting, I think, and it was just a really good book. It has its creepy moments, it has its surprising moments, it's really, really funny and charming, and I loved all of the characters, and I think I gave this a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads because I was just so excited about it. It really is a very good book. I'm going to be picking up anything else I can find of Cantero's to read because I just really enjoyed this book. The next book that I finished in the month of November is Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu. She is a graphic artist who has been doing this comic called Check Please online for several years now. I think she started in 2015, but I could be wrong about that. Check Please is about a boy named Eric Biddle who has been a figure skater and baking enthusiast in Georgia, and he is moving to Massachusetts to attend Samuel University on a hockey scholarship. The title comes from the fact that he's afraid of checking, which if you don't know anything about hockey, I don't know anything about hockey either, but luckily Ngozi explains it pretty well in the book. Oh, I shouldn't be explaining checking. I really shouldn't be explaining checking. I shouldn't be explaining anything that there is to do about hockey. This is a really, really, really charming comic to read. It is so much fun. The characters are all really endearing and wonderful, and it's just this big group of guys going through college. At first, Biddy is overwhelmed by his teammates and by getting the hang of hockey after doing figure skating for so many years, but he becomes a part of the team, and it's a really just charming story about his time in college, and you get attached to the characters so fast. It's really sweet. I think I gave this a 5 out of 5 because I do love this comic so much. I've been following it for a couple of years. I was so excited when I found out this was coming out in print, and I actually did get to meet the author recently, so that was really exciting, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. The third book I finished this month I don't have a physical copy of. I listened to the audiobook of Neil Gaiman's Norse mythology. I was really excited to read this one since I just recently finished Rick Riordan's Magnus Chase trilogy, and I wanted to see where the stories that he had borrowed and interpreted had come from, and I thought Neil Gaiman did a really, really, really great job of recreating those stories for a new audience, of retelling these stories. A lot of them I wasn't familiar with. I was familiar with the characters and some of the premises, but I didn't really know the actual stories, and if you have any interest in reading the Magnus Chase series, you might want to read this one first. You might want to learn a little bit about Norse mythology and then come back to Magnus Chase. I think it's going to be a lot more fun for you that way. It was fun to sort of retroactively understand what had been going on in Magnus Chase, but I think that if I had read Norse mythology first and then the Magnus Chase trilogy, I would have gotten way more of Riordan's little jokes and references and things like that, and I would have understood the plot better and where everything was going. So maybe you could consider it spoilers, but I really think it's sort of like background reading. The fourth book that I finished in the month of November took me a while, and I've complained about it before on the channel, but I finished Queen of Shadows by Sarah J. Maas, and at first I was really, really doubtful about this book. I was almost ready to give up on the series after Heir of Fire. It took me forever to get through, and I had lost interest. I didn't like where the characters were going. I didn't like where the plot was going. But I have to admit, Queen of Shadows turned it all around for me. I was really, really surprised actually by how much I liked this one. I don't know if I was just really, really in the mood for it, and so it struck me just at the perfect time, or if there really has been enough growth and change in the characters and in the situation, but I found myself really, really, really enjoying Queen of Shadows, and I think I'm going to pick up Empire of Storms really soon, because I want to get this series done, I want to have read it all, and I'm in a place right now where I'm interested to do it. Queen of Shadows, for anyone who's familiar with the Throne of Grass— Throne of Grass? Did I just say Throne of Grass? For those of you familiar with the Throne of Glass trilogy, this is the 4th book in the series. It is regarded by a lot of people as the turning point of the series. I don't really know, since I haven't read the rest of it, if this is really the turning point, but you can kind of get that sense from the end of it. I like the direction in which it's heading. We'll just have to see how it ends. That's a big thing for me. Sometimes I really like the climax of a series and then I get to the end and I realize I did not want it to go this way at all. But I really like Sarah J Maas's writing. I've been really inspired by some of the stuff that I've read of hers for my own writing, and it's put me back in a mood to start writing again, which, since I've been away from it for a little while, is a really, really, really good thing. So I'm really kind of excited that I read this book, and I'm excited to get to the next one. I don't really like the idea of doing a TBR for the month. I feel like it limits me too much in what I'm going to read, and if I'm not in the mood to read something that I said I was going to read, I'm going to feel bad about it if I don't actually read it. So I'm not going to try to hold myself to any promises about what I'm reading or when I'm reading it. Right now I'm in the middle of reading 2 books over audiobook and ebook. One of them is Turtles All the Way Down by John Green, which I've been meaning to get to for a while. I'm not a huge John Green fan. I actually like him more for his Crash Course content than for his writing, but I really, really enjoyed The Fault in Our Stars. I think that's probably one of the best YA contemporaries that I've read in the last few years. When did that one even come out? I feel old. I'm not a huge fan of John Green's writing style, but I'm really enjoying Turtles All the Way Down. It feels very personal, it feels very real, it's very relatable, and I'm not really sure if that's a positive thing or not, but it feels relatable to me, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. So far, I really like the mystery of the novel. The premise of Turtles All the Way Down, if you're not familiar with it, is that this girl named Aza has a lot of anxiety issues, and I think it's been hinted at but not labeled. I think she has OCD and things like germophobia, and she and her best friend start investigating the disappearance of a local billionaire whose son she knows from camp. I'm really interested in all of the characters right now, which is unusual for me with a John Green book, but I'm attached to all the characters, I'm interested in the mystery, and I'm excited to see where it goes, so I'm really excited to be listening to that one. The other book that I'm currently reading right now is called Night Shift by B.R. Myers. Night Shift is a mystery, I guess? It's a mystery with some paranormal leanings. I'm about 40% of the way through the book, and I'm still kind of confused as to a lot of what's going on. But I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm unexpectedly attached to the main character. Night Shift is about a boy named Daniel who has recently become an orphan as his father has just died. He is 18 and out on his own, traveling around. He ends up in New York interviewing to be a night guard at a store called Willard's, which is said to be haunted by ghosts at night. The other night guards who have been hired recently have all left after only a couple of nights, so there's sort of a bet going as to how long Daniel's going to stay, and he's a little bit determined to prove them wrong and prove that there are no ghosts and stay as long as he can. It's interesting. I'm still not sure how I feel about a lot of it yet. I think it's because I keep trying to think ahead of the author and figure out what she's doing, and I probably need to just let the story unfold and see how I enjoy it rather than predicting what's going to happen, but so far I'm really enjoying it anyway. I know that this video is a little bit late for my once-a-week schedule that I was hoping to stick to, but here I am now, and I'm going to keep putting out videos as often as possible. I will definitely have another video up next week, and I might even get it sooner than next week, so I'll just see how things go. But thank you all so much for your patience. The encouragement I've gotten from other people in the community has been really awesome, and I'm really, really, really grateful and appreciative for it. I probably would have quit if I hadn't received the kind of encouragement from my family and from some of you that I have, but I've been really touched by it and encouraged, and I'm going to try to keep doing this for as long as I feel inspired to do it. So a question for you guys, because I want to put some discussion in the comments, I want to talk to people. That's what this is for talking to people, I keep trying to remind myself, is what are you reading this month, and what's the best book that you read in the month of November? I'm always looking for recommendations, even though I have too many books. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you for a new video soon. Have a great day. Bye.